All right. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I think it's really exciting for me, for Find a Wrench, for WrenchWay to put on this event. It was kind of something that I tasked our team with in regard to putting together something that really was beneficial for the industry and really would maybe make some impact. And so we put together TechMission 2020, and there's a lot of reasons why we wanted to do this, but for me in particular, I sit through a lot of meetings and I sit through a lot of different different type of industry events where we like to talk about technicians. We like to really think that we are in the know. But one thing that I continually noticed was the lack of actual technicians in the fold, right? So we would have all of these meetings, talk about technicians, and really get a lot of really smart people in the room. But we'd miss out on one major thing, and that was the actual technicians and hearing what they had to say. So it was really important to us to put something together that we could really be able to talk through key issues with the people that actually have their boots on the ground, right? So the people that are actually going in the shop and working. So I'm beyond excited about today, not only about what we're doing here today, but the panelists that we have are some of the top in the industry. I want to go ahead and thank all of them for taking time out of their schedules to do this today. It was really something that meant a lot to me in general. Also wanted to thank our team at Find a Wrench and WrenchWay. Really, Sarah and Alexa, you guys are rock stars. Sarah, you set everything up in a pretty short amount of time. So I very much appreciate what you've done and really getting all this set up. She also had the playlist to start off the day, right? Which I'm all fired up with. The final countdown got me jacked up. It was really good. So this is going to be a fun day. It's going to be a day about the technicians, really learning what they crave, what they want to see, and really deciphering what we've got there. So one quick story as to kind of to extend the why we're doing this, and I think it was kind of just a different approach to this, but there's a story that comes to mind when I think about why we wanted to put this together. And that story is about a shop when I first started Find a Wrench that really was proud of what they had, right? They were proud of the way that they ran their business and were very confident. And in talking with them, one of the things that really stuck out to me was how different technicians saw what they saw, right? And so we would have conversations and they were frustrated that they couldn't get anybody in the door to apply to their job. And as I talked with the manager and really started informing them about, is there something we can tweak? Is there something that we can look at? And the gentleman said, you know what? We have a very competitive offering. We treat our people really well. I don't see any reason why anybody wouldn't want to work here, right? And so we had our recruiting team going out on the trail, trying to find technicians for this dealership. And we heard something that was completely different to the point to where our recruiters were getting screamed at by technicians that they were embarrassed for us that we were recruiting for a shop like that. And so that really rung home with me that there is a huge disconnect between the management side and the technician side. And what we need to do is to kind of help drive this better, right? Help drive that communication better, help drive a more productive work environment, and not just from the standpoint of putting more hours out, but really embracing what there is and maybe our weaknesses and really kind of building on those. So when I say that this is what I'm talking about. This is the really getting to know the technicians as individuals, knowing what drives them, and hopefully creating a better industry. And I think it's really, really important that we do that from the standpoint of, we have a technician shortage, right? We know that there is a technician shortage. Why is there a technician shortage? And I think too often we point to the tech schools and the high schools that took away shop programs, and we really kind of place the blame on them for not producing more technicians. But there's a big disconnect there, because I think there's as much concern about the technicians that are leaving the industry altogether than there is just the technicians that are coming in, right? And to me, it's very similar to marketing a product, right? Where if you don't have a solid product and you market the heck out of it, your business is going to fail. And that's the same thing with trying to get a technician into your shop. If you bring a technician into your shop and it's not a great environment, it's not a great place to work, you're going to really, really struggle. And it impacts the industry from the standpoint that not only does that technician leave you, possibly, right? Maybe that technician goes to another trade, or they go into a different field altogether. And when that happens, that creates more of an issue with kind of poaching, right? Where one shop will steal from another shop, and we're not doing anything that's productive in terms of the health of the industry. And that's really what we want to get to the core of here today. We want to talk to technicians. We want to understand really what they have to say. And, I think too often from the standpoint of management, we end up pushing them away and pushing them into the back of the shop without really listening to understand what they're trying to say. And in order for us to really make an impact on the industry to where people want to stay in, that it's a really, really attractive job, because let's face it, it's a hard job, right? It's dirty. It is physically demanding. And while it's getting better, it's still not as easy as going and sitting behind a desk. I'm sorry. It's just not as easy. And I think the funny part about my perspective in this whole thing is that I started off as a technician and was not a good one, right? And I'm very, very candid about that. But it to me gave me a level of respect to technicians that I don't know that everybody has, right? And I think that's where today I want to talk about this. We want to talk about this. We want to get those elephant in the room type items out on the table so that we can really dive into them and really talk through them. I don't expect that we're going to solve every problem here today. Obviously, this has been going on for a long, long time. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a day like today. But our hope is that it starts the conversation. And the plan is really that we're going to start we're following this up with quarterly TechMission events where we're able to talk about, just talk about the key issues and keep the conversation going, right? And really, when at the base level of all of this, the whole point of TechMission is to really start a conversation. And when I say start a conversation without a technician feeling like they're going to get fired for stating their opinion, or a manager trying to walk on eggshells around a technician because they're not sure what they think and they're afraid to ask. So we really need to dive into this. We need the ability to really understand each other, have conversations, and do it in a non-threatening way. And I think that's what we're going to be able to do today. As we go through this, let me get on my slides here. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Jaygannon. I've been in the industry all of my life. I started at my dad's small independent shop in a small town in Wisconsin, which is still going strong today. I think a couple of the guys are on, which I'm really, really excited about. But really, this passion for the industry has really stemmed from the time that I was a kid, and really seeing how talented technicians are and how smart they are, right? I don't think they get the credit that they always deserve. And that's kind of where my background, I feel like, kind of lends itself to being able to help the industry in general. So as a result, I founded Find a Wrench in 2017. We've grown extremely quickly. We've got an extremely talented group of people that work with us. And really, the team that you see on a day-to-day basis that's actually doing the work is really all of those talented people. We're extremely lucky for a young company to have some really, really good young talented people. And then you'll learn more about WrenchWay a little bit today, where we really kicked that off. I co-founded that with my business partner, Mark Wilson, and we founded that in late 2019. We're just getting that off the ground, but we've got some really, really exciting stuff. And you'll see in the agenda here that we're going to talk about that a little bit. I do want you to know that this is not a sales pitch, right? Today is not a sales pitch. It's not meant to be a sales pitch. It's meant to have these conversations that I've been talking about and really hopefully do that. So WrenchWay is just kind of an element of that, and something that we think can really, really impact the industry in a great way, and really start some of these conversations like we've talked about. As far as the agenda for today, we're going through the welcome right now, as you can see. We'll take a small break to really fill up your coffee and get rolling before the technician roundtable. What I love about this event is that we're starting it off with technicians. Now, we did pre-record the technician roundtables because we didn't want to take away from their daily activities, right? Obviously, with technicians, their time is as valuable as anybody's. So we pre-recorded the technician roundtables. There's some great stuff on both the one today and tomorrow. We've got automotive today, so the automotive side is really our focus for today, and then the diesel side is the focus for tomorrow. So immediately following that, we'll take another short break, allow you to get to your emails, do some of that stuff, but then we're going to come back and do a manager roundtable. The cool part about the manager roundtable to me is that we've got some of the most talented people in the industry in one session. And I'm not just saying that to blow smoke. These are extremely talented people and really smart people, and I couldn't be more excited about the crew that we've assembled. One cool part to note about the manager roundtable and about everything that we've got going on here is that we've got a true mixture of everybody in the industry, right? So we've got dealerships, we've got independents, we've got franchises, we've got everything in between, fleets, and we've got both automotive and diesel sides covered. So we're trying to bring everything together in a way that I really haven't seen that done before, where we're getting everybody in the same room, kind of hopefully getting everybody rowing in the right direction, and hopefully getting some level of impact. We're going to follow that manager roundtable up. We'll have a short Q&A after the manager roundtable for those of you that might have questions. And then we're going to do right around lunchtime. This will be kind of a short lunch period, but for those of you that are interested in learning about our new WrenchWay Insiders app, which, by the way, I'm kind of biased, but it is pretty cool. Like, it is really, really awesome. So if you want to, you can get a sneak peek at that app that we're just about to launch. I think next week it'll be going live, depending on how the App Store kind of goes through that. So if you want the first look at it, please make sure to check that out, grab your food, and just watch as you're going along for lunch. But there's some really cool information there that I think you'll all like. We're going to follow that with a presentation from our Director of Recruiting, Lisa Joseph. For those of you that have worked with Lisa, you know how extremely talented she is. She's really what keeps our day-to-day going from the recruiting aspect. And she's really, really a smart person that I think you're really going to love listening to. She's got years and years of HR experience, years and years of recruiting experience, and she's really going to kind of lay out what we do, right? And I think this is going to be a really, really good presentation for all of you to see. From there, we are doing a tech school roundtable. And with that tech school roundtable, it is sitting down with tech schools and educators to understand what we can do to better support them. And that is a really, really key element. We just put a podcast out yesterday with a local high school tech ed instructor. And if you get a chance, go listen to that. It is amazing. It is such a good podcast talking about what they need. And then finally, we're going to have an industry roundtable that's really more of a broader scope of everything, right? So the industry as a whole. And again, extremely talented people throughout the day. I am so excited to have everybody here. As far as Q&A, you're able to ask through the chat. If you do have a question, Sarah's going to be monitoring the chat throughout the course of the day, and we're going to have some Q&A sessions where we can. Unfortunately, after the technician roundtable, there's not going to be enough time to do a Q&A there because we just had a load of information. We went a little long on that one. So for the manager roundtable, tech school roundtable, and the industry roundtable, we will have the ability to have a Q&A. And then ultimately, we're recording all of this, right? So if you registered, you will get links to this to be able to see that. Now, as we kind of move into what we're covering today and why we're covering it, right? I think the big piece of my welcome speech this morning is really around the why. And as you can see, and I'm sure you've seen these numbers time and time again, but when you really start to understand what they are, there's real concern behind these, right? And you see that we are going to continue to grow at 6% per year over the next 10 years. What that's going to do is create an extra 46,000 jobs on top of the jobs that we have already, right? And for those of you that know how hard it is to find a tech right now, that's a big issue because we're adding another 46,000 jobs on top of the issues that we already have. So that ultimately leads into a shortage of 76,000 techs per year. Not ideal, right? So this is primarily a big reason as to why we're having this conversation. And for those of you that are really on that side of like, man, I need techs and I'm having a really hard time finding them, this slide really kind of points that out, right? As to why you have a tough time. And what we find with, if you're to look at this slide as 100% technicians, what we find is that about a quarter of them, 25%, are extremely happy where they're at. They're not leaving. They're not doing anything different. Conversely, we find 5% that are always perpetually unhappy and they're always jumping. And a lot of times that's what you find on the job board is that 5%. And then there's that middle 70% that is maybe content but not happy. And those are the ones that you really want to appeal to. And Mark, in his presentation later for WrenchWay Insiders, will go into that as far as what we want to see down the road. And we want to see more of that 25% not leaving. We want that to expand to a lot more because that means more people are staying in the industry. So that'll be important. But to kind of summarize and wrap this up, the welcome side here, the point and the purpose of TechMission is to listen to the voice of technicians. That's why we're here today. We want to listen to what they have to say and really get that out on the table and talk through that. And we feel like we've created a platform and a format here that we can really do that effectively and then talk about that and really hopefully put some actions into place so that you can take it back to your shop, whether you're a technician, a manager, a fixed ops director, whatever you are, and be able to put some actionable items into play. So I'm really excited about that part. And then really as we get down the line of the course of the day is really trying to figure out ways that we can better communicate between industry and schools and really try to bridge that gap where we think we're helping out, but these schools are so desperate for help in some ways. And there's a ton of opportunity there to help them out. Hopefully we can identify those things and be able to get those over to you. And I think, Sarah, that's it for me or my time here. I think we're going to take a short break. before we get to the technician roundtable. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to shout. I'm more than happy to answer them. But thank you so much to everybody that's attending today. It does mean the world to us that you're taking the initiative to really try to make this better, right? And we've had a huge crowd register for this, which I honestly did not expect. It was fairly overwhelming to see the response, but we're really excited for today and to really get some of these things out on the table. So look forward to today. If you guys have any questions, feel free to let us know. Otherwise, let's have some fun today.